So domestic minor sex trafficking is a global crime, fastest growing industry in the world, and I think the thing that is hardest for people to digest is the fact that it's happening right here in Iowa. Many people say certainly not here, but if it's not happening here, it's the only place in the world that it doesn't happen. And I think most people's perceptions of it are kidnapping and abduction of children for this crime. But most often it is relationships that are developed with these kids that are manipulated and lured into the business by people who make false promises and false claims to them and fill basic needs for them that aren't being met at home. And certainly this affects the most vulnerable children in our community, those who are growing up with domestic violence, divorce, sexual assault, abuse, neglect, substance abuse, mental illness, and also those with intellectual disabilities who become most vulnerable and easy to manipulate in this. It does happen with traditional pimps. The drug environment in Iowa makes us particularly susceptible, but most of what we see is what we call place-based trafficking, so children who are groomed and sold by their own family members or people close to their families who they already trust. Dorothys House is what we call a safe place for the practice of life for those girls whose lives have been interrupted by trafficking and exploitation. And we emphasize practice of life because so many of these children have grown up in situations where they haven't learned basic relationship skills and what it's like to receive unconditional love and to have their basic needs met on a day-to-day basis, who end up looking for these things outside of home. And so we do everything at home that you might find, and we just do it at ages that might not be normal. So we play games, we go roller skating, we go to school, we have dinner together, we make meals together, we learn together, and we pray together. So Dorothys House is a private, not-for-profit 501c3, and so we finance all of the care that our girls receive. So financial donations are always welcome, but we also look to the community to provide supportive care to our girls. And you can do that by visiting dorothyshouse.org and going to our volunteer application. And there are a variety of ways that people can engage with us, both working with the girls or in our urban garden, which is partially sustainability, but partially programming for our girls as well, learning about healthy food, learning about the importance of work and contributing to the family and making food and where food comes from. So lots of yard cleanup and yard work and things to do. So there's so many ways to help. So if you have a skill or a passion or something you enjoy doing or something that you're particularly good at, we can probably apply it. For children who have been exposed to this crime, we think that their recovery will be a lifetime, but certainly impacted by a couple of things. And one is the age at which they are taken into the industry, because we see children who are groomed and prepared for this business as early as the age of 2 by their family members, and some girls who have fallen into it through some bad decisions and relationships and had a 6-week experience. And so the length of time that they endured the crime. And then the third factor is the severity of abuse, which ranges from violence, assault. We deal with a lot of burns, breaks, fractures, certainly sexually transmitted diseases, HIV, communicable diseases, many abortions perhaps that have occurred without medical care, and a lot of the mental health issues that result from that. So post-traumatic stress that is chronic, suicidal ideation and action, bipolar, borderline personality, reactive attachment disorder, and oftentimes multiple diagnoses for these children. So really we focus on stabilizing their physical and mental health first, so that they can learn that every day they're going to have a place to sleep and food given to them reliably, consistently, and predictably, so that we don't even hope in those early days to achieve safety but predictability, so that they can start to exhale. And when they start exhaling is when the work can really begin, and we start introducing concepts like faith and the lighter sides of faith, because we've even seen issues of cult and satanic ritual that are performed on these children, or that they're forced to perform on others. And so they have a lot of questions about, if there is a God, how is this where I am in my life? And so we sometimes have to start at the very beginning, but we do find that it's a pivot point for children. And for young adults, oftentimes the thing that helps them really move into recovery on a larger scale. And then the last pillar that we focus on is skills. So we have kids who come with such a wide range of educational levels, basic healthcare knowledge, basic home skills, all the things that you would typically learn growing up about banking and about how you might learn how to rent an apartment. We try to do all of that, and we really, again, going back to the practice of life, believe that every moment is a teaching opportunity in the home, and to do it without shame or guilt or making them feel like, how could you be this old and not know this already, is the level of compassion and love that we add on top of that care. The outcomes for children are unthinkable. We have to ask ourselves, how many is too many? We're talking about the children in our community, and the horrors of this crime of modern day slavery are just not okay. There's something that we can all do on a small scale in the course of every day, and I encourage you to think about that one child that you might know that walks in front of your house every day on her way to the school bus, or is in your classroom or in your faith community, who needs your help. Don't be afraid to ask that young boy or girl if everything's okay.